For example, one of the activities we have is to list all your core values, so what you cannot live without. And then slowly, you trickle down to three. And these are the most powerful words in your life. These are the things that you most value in your life. And then we link those to purpose and mission and vision, and of course for us is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. But for them also, depending on the background and religion, at least it helps them to think more deeply. What is quite interesting with the South African communities, especially in Cape Town, is that they've been Muslims for sometimes longer even than people in Muslim majority countries, so over 300 years, nearly 400 years. And how Islam came to Cape Town is through the awliya Allah, through the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are one or two main figures that everyone refers to. So we have Sheikh Yusuf rahimahullah, who was a very high-ranking scholar and friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who was imprisoned and brought as a slave, and let's say a political prisoner in Cape Town by the Dutch at that time. So they are very much aware of the spiritual side of Islam. They're aware of the need of wilaya, the need of friendship with Allah, but they don't have the how. And this is where on many fronts, the South African Muslims are ahead of the English-speaking communities. They're the earliest to have Islamic halal certifications, to have Islamic institutions. Many Westerners go to study in South Africa, for Darul Ulooms and other things. But in this area, although it's part of the history, it feels like it's been a little bit lost, like the how to become a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it resonates with them because it's in the DNA. They are descendants of these people that were brought as slaves, and then Islam spread through the awliya Allah, to the extent that Cape Town is surrounded by what they call karamats, which are maqam or mazars. So there are several mazars around Cape Town, and their belief, even of the non-Muslims, is that they look over the city and they protect the city. So this is a very interesting nuance for the Cape Townian Muslims.
So are the Muslim communities there well established, just like the UK?
In my observation, so the let's say Durban and Johannesburg is like the business center. It's like the London. Mm-hmm. So the Muslim community is more fragmented and generally better off. But you can see that the Muslims in Cape Town are established, meaning they have representation in government, up to ministers. They have almost everywhere we went, there was halal food, even though majority of the country is non-Muslim. And there's also respect for Islam. There's a respect for Muslims. There's a solidarity with Palestine from all people, or let's say the majority of the people. And the reason we have these, so a lot of our sessions were also on drug rehab centers. So the Muslims are established, but they are not without the societal issues. So even the sessions we deliver to the women, so because of the cost of living, the currency crisis, they are also suffering financially. So now women are being encouraged to start their own small businesses, tailoring, online skills, coding. And we had an opportunity to deliver some sessions for them as well, but also to these drug rehab centers, where Muslims are funding and running programs where majority of people are non-Muslims, but there are also a lot of Muslim families who are helping drug addicts recover. And they have a very high success rate because they incorporate Islamic values. So they make them all do dhikr on Thursday. So this is like part of
non-Muslims. They make the non-Muslims do the zikr.
So it's just part of the curriculum. Like you have to come on Thursday and do dhikr. So this is part of the culture. Is part of the Cape Town way, you can say.
Excellent. Ustad Majid, they say traveling makes a man. In terms of the more you travel, the more you're exposed to different people, cultures, climates, and obviously it's a part of your education and self-development. And yourself are a good example of someone who's traveled around the world a lot. What's your advice as to how does this traveling benefits you, especially, I mean, you've done traveling for business, you've done traveling for deen to spread the word of the work, the prophetic work that you are doing. What has been the biggest highlight for you that you would advise others to embark on these journeys?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to distill it down to just one thing. So one thing I would say that the one thing that traveling does is it exposes you to you. So you really get to know yourself. You get to know what how patient or impatient you are. All of those kind of it just unlocks a completely different Pandora's box about how you think you might be and how you engage with other people. So I think just on that level, and it brings about a level of resilience, which is really what we're all about. We talk about kind of repetition and resistance. How you engage with others and travel is fundamental. So just before you're even exporting peace to other people, you embark on that journey yourself. So I would definitely say it's definitely an eye opener. More generally, like I think you summed it up quite well. Look, part of to be able to travel, as part of the World Peace Mission, to be doing the work of dawah. And think about this. I mean, I like one of your opening statements when we joined, and you said the word missionary, and that's really contentious when you go into into Africa. Because but it's really amazing because the mission
It gives a different impression what a
it does,
missionary
doesn't
is.
it? But they went. I mean, the missionaries that went to Africa, they went with food in one hand and the Bible in the other, and it was just
Right.
like we're going to feed you this and therefore become. But think about what we're exporting. We're literally exporting peace. There's no like condition. There's no like, hey, you have to take this. And then Tassim mentioned about some of the drug rehab centers. We did an entire dedicated session to a group of Christian missionaries. That was our session dedicated to them, and all we did was we taught them a skill that they can go out and teach people, which was about how to change, the secret to change. You just learn so much about rather than. I mean, if we went into that audience and we started talking about Islam, they would have just got so confrontational. It just wasn't the right way to pitch it. And that's one of the things that by traveling you grow up so much. You learn actually, look, the world isn't just as what you might think it is in Solihull or Birmingham or in Bolton or things like that. There's so much more out there. People are dynamic, and uh, and if you can go out and if you think about the core message that we're doing is we're really just wanting to benefit people, even if that's like I said, we went to Christian missionaries and we told them this is a secret to change. Like this works for us. Here, there you go. You go use it. You go learn it and you go use it. I mean, it absolutely changed the entire dynamic of that group. The follow up we got afterwards, it was just amazing. So, like I would say, anyone that wants to be involved with the World Peace Mission, I think definitely should. Embarking on some form of travel is definitely going to be part of that journey.
But if somebody who's probably listening thinking, I'm very busy at work, I've got a job, limited amount of holidays in a year, how can they embark on this mission if, physically they're not able to travel?
I mean, look, I mean, Zafar, who isn't busy? Can we just start with that first? There's this perception that everyone has about, how many times if I would be a millionaire if someone gave me a penny every time someone said, you know what, once I do this in my life, then I'm going to do dawah. I can't work for someone else. This is just, it's all like, one of the
Excuses?
things I mean, one of the things I got taught very early on when I started out in the city there was and someone said to me, if you want something done, give it to a busy man. Yeah, obviously now I would say busy man, busy woman, but if you want something done, give it to someone. If something is worth it in your life, you're going to prioritize it. As I feel, we all have people like Tassif, myself, you met Asad Haroon. These are people that have 25, 20 days maximum holiday, yet they managed to carve out time. You're a father, you've got children, you're doing. There's time isn't an issue here. It's all about prioritization. That's what it's always about. If you
Absolutely.
whatever you prioritize in life, you will carve time out for it. That's it. It's very simple. But going back to the second point, so holidays, nothing. There's no limitation. The second piece is okay, fine. Someone, they can't travel because of the fact that they get travel sick. So I'm not gonna make time the reason. Let's say it's something else. Then you can get involved in so many other ways. Like if you ask Sister Habiba, she's such a great example. I remember when she first got involved in the World Peace Mission, she was in this sub department that was dealing with venue research. Like literally, her role was to go up and find out what the climate is in these different countries. That was her role, literally. Like she was doing that, feeding in, and look where she is now, subhanallah. So everyone has a role, even if it means being a paper pusher or something like that. But what you can't do is just do that thing that we sit on our side and say, I wish, I wish, I wish. You know, you have to embark on that journey. I mean, all of us, I like what you said earlier. We all sat in a chair one day and listened to the message, and we were passive recipients. All of us had to do something to kind of embark on this journey. So, in answer to your question, if it's important enough for people and they want to get involved, just get involved in anything and look at how Allah opens doors. You know, whatever your talent
Absolutely.
is, it will come out. It will literally come out when you start engaging with people. If you're sitting in Woking or Wolverhampton or wherever it might be, go speak to any of your local kind of trainers, teachers. You know, they can dial in, speak to you. I am sure you have 101 tasks that you could give any single person that wants to get on the involved in the World Peace Mission. They just need to dial into the studio, and I'm sure you can keep people busy for for weeks on end.
Inshallah. You mentioned Sister Habiba there. Obviously, she started 12, 18 months ago, starting at a very sort of low level admin to help find venues, do some research. Now, alhamdulillah, she's actually gone out to South Africa and done a 2 week tour and back. Just want to hear from yourself, Sister Habiba, how has this journey been for you in terms of what has been the biggest learning curve for yourself from this trip?
I don't even know how I got here. I would say the biggest learning is, again, if you prioritize, then all other aspects of your life fall together. So while we were planning the South Africa tour, and as we were building up and getting closer, at the same time, I was applying for this job that I really wanted. And there's lots of interview stages, applications, statements that I had to do. So at one point, I was thinking, how am I going to do both? Plan this whole tour, go out and travel, and do all these interviews and applications. But then I switched my focus and made the tour the priority, and then everything else just fell into place. Like all the
MashaAllah.
interviews I did, I got amazing feedback, all the stages, and then the job that I applied even last year, I put more effort in last year for the job, but I didn't get through. But this year, put less effort in, but then I got through because I prioritized. So the biggest learning is that when you prioritize and put the work of Allah, the mission first, then everything else just falls into place.
Subhanallah. I'm going to get Tasif to comment on that. There's a hadith that when you make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala your objective, what happens?
The dunya serves you. And
MashaAllah.
just to put into context, I know maybe Sister Viv is not mentioning, but she got through with the civil service fast stream. So I worked briefly on the finance fast stream when I was in the Treasury, and she must have at least 100,000 people. She must have got through and been picked as one of maybe a dozen, maybe 2 dozen people in the whole country. So when she's saying that, oh yeah, I got through a job, it wasn't just like with all due respect, like applying to a local. She got through the civil service fast stream, which is one of the most prestigious graduate programs in the UK. So that's just a little bit of context, and it puts the hadith in also gives us an example of somebody prioritizing. And as Ustad Majid mentioned, we all, even myself, had this mindset. Okay, when I finish, when I get my university degree, then I will do. And when I get my first job, and it just never happens. And I think the biggest takeaway, definitely 100%, I'm not worthy or knowledgeable or have anything to offer. But the only thing I did is to listen to some our teachers and start to say, what, just sacrifice a little bit of time. And although I'm not the best teacher or the best speaker or the best, you find something that you can contribute, something that you can give. And practically speaking, so number one, if you're too shy or you're not sure what you can offer, the recent bayans and speeches by a teacher are all about trying to discover and assess yourself to know what is it. You must have 2 or 3 strengths, right? You must have 2 or 3 things that Allah has blessed you with, which are your natural talents. What are they, and how can you use them now to benefit others? To serve the mission or something that you're passionate about. So that's the first thing to do, to really reflect. And each and every one of us, whether we are teenagers, parents, grandparents, we all have something to give, and this is the beauty. And number two is make a small intention. Okay, if you cannot do 10 days, 15 days, how about a weekend? You know, we all do weekend retreats or weekend aways, you know, to refresh. And alhamdulillah, what I can say is I've been on a lot of holidays with my friends, and you come back and you are more tired and more stressed than when before you went. But when you travel for this with this intention, not only do you gain spiritually and you know you're trying to help others, but when you come back, it doesn't feel like you've done any effort at all. Like you feel very refreshed, very calm. And this has been my experience that you don't even need a day to recover. Sometimes I come back and the next day I go to work, and it's
Mashallah.
been fine. But sometimes when I go on holiday, you feel more tired, you know, coming back and you need 1 or 2 days to recover. So don't think, okay, 10 days, 15 days, just a weekend and then build up from there. Even it doesn't need to be, it can be Wales, you know, it's still a different country to England. So, or it can be France, Spain, you know, whatever you can do, just give a few days and then see how the blessing and the help of Allah comes.
We may have just mentioned this in sort of passing, but I really want to focus our brothers and sisters who are watching this program on this very point that, you know, many of us want to be successful in this dunya. And who more to impress than the one who holds the keys to the treasure of not only the hereafter, but for this dunya as well. We should be striving on the path to go and achieve the friendship and the closeness of the King, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the King of all kings, and the kingdom of the dunya will be at our feet. And I can assure you, each and one of these very people on this panel that you see are a testament to that, that they have sacrificed their time, their energy, their money to go on this prophetic mission, and yet they are also very, very successful in their worldly careers and occupations. And many of you are already aware, you know, Ustad Majid is an internationally successful barrister and taxation specialist who travels around the world, is one of the best in his field. And this is truly an inspiration that we should be taking away from this, because a lot of people sit at home and think, you know, maybe I don't have the money, maybe I don't have the time, or I can't travel. Ustad Majid, one other misconception is that people think that they have to travel. There's other ways as well of doing this work, this prophetic mission, without even leaving their hometown. Would you just kindly elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you use the example. I mean, Sister Habiba, one of her fundamental roles was just pulling these things together, which was doing the research. Now, she did that from the comfort of her home, and that was fun. That was instrumental. I mean, you know, obviously the people that are sitting here, but this tour also happened because there's an entire international team behind these tours that happen. Like they're what I would say the backbone of all of this happening. We have a charity arm that is funding these tours. That is the backbone. All of these things kind of come together, and we need anyone can slot into any one of these areas and kind of and facilitate. You're absolutely right. Traveling might not be for everyone. Speaking might not be for everyone. People's roles evolve. People evolve as human beings. That's the nature of what we do. But what we really need to get away from, which I think Zafar you're really bringing out, is this kind of like this. You know, I'm too busy. I can't do. I'm not qualified. But of course, we're not qualified. This is the job of the prophets. Let's be frank. So we're never going to be good enough. This is the message of Allah. We're never going to be articulate enough. So let's just throw that out the window first and foremost. Yeah, we're never going to be good enough. So once you come to that realization, but what you can do is Allah's not judging us on our output. Allah's judging on the effort, and that we can all put in. So really, like I say, anyone can get involved in any part of this. And what can you be better? You know, can you spend your life in any better field or anything else other than exporting the deen of Allah across the globe? You can't make this stuff up. It's just, you know, it's the best profession, the best thing to get involved in. And guess what? As part of it, you either are facilitating for people to travel around the globe, or you're part of that journey as well.
I mean, there's another aspect of dawah that many people overlook, is that yes, it's important that we travel, we meet people, because the deen was transferred from heart to heart. But there's also a big sort of role to play in terms of spreading the message through the media, social media, marketing, whichever method that now, I mean, it's available and available at our fingertips to be able to impact millions of people simultaneously in real time through social media. And if anybody is good at social media, this is another area that they shouldn't overlook. What are your thoughts, Tasif?
I completely agree, and I think it goes back to people spending a little bit of time just discovering. So, you don't need big qualifications and titles, but just knowing what each and every one of us, without a doubt, has been blessed with talent, and he's been blessed with things which we are naturally good at. We're naturally, you can say, more competent than the average person in. So it could be in design, it could be in writing, it could be in technology, it could be even in just serving and helping organize events or things. So first is just knowing and discovering that talent and that thing that you enjoy doing, and then thinking about how can I link it to the mission, and maybe part of your mission is to serve people who are hungry and thirsty. Well, we have Life Care, we have the Bag Welfare Trust, we have many avenues for that. Maybe for some people the passion is education, ensuring that every child has access to education. So anyways, people can think for themselves that what is it that I really think about, and I drives me. It really moves me when I watch some documentary about education or about poverty, or even about drugs. Like the programs that we saw in South Africa. Somebody should really think, how can we bring this in the UK? Because there are, so let's say in the NHS official drug rehab program is a 40% success rate, officially studied and approved. In the Muslim-owned Rauf and the Sultan Bahu, researched and studied by the South African Medical Association, 80% success rate. So there is something they're doing which is, that is working. Now, how maybe somebody can bring that and facilitate that for the UK. So there's no limit actually to the service of the deed. And then, of course, with the transformational course of purification that we have, that can enhance the experience even more to give people a practical way also to not just overcome the addiction, but to become purposeful, meaningful individuals in their lives. So I think everyone can do something. So so one person cannot do everything, but everyone can do something. This is the summary.
MashaAllah. Again, it's been very inspiring hearing from each and every single one of you, because you're motivating me even more to want to travel and get really immersed into the work of dawah and meet people around the world. Just want to hear sort of final thoughts of any challenges, any unforeseen circumstances which tested your resilience, your strength, your patience. Were there any stories to share as regards to any unexpected things hitting you on this trip? Anyone? And you're all thinking, no, probably didn't.
I'll let Hasib go. I think, didn't you guys turn up somewhere where there wasn't any power outlet?
Oh yeah. I mean, there'll always be, and this is also a very important aspect, is that our mindset when we're traveling is that we are the first people to benefit from this journey. And actually, I don't think there's been any trip or expedition where something or the other hasn't gone exactly to plan. So I can't think of anything for South Africa apart from maybe sometimes the plugs for the one projector that we had wasn't working. And the backup projector.
It may not seem like a big deal now, but at the time, I'm sure it's a very big deal.
Yeah. I mean, we had members of parliament, we had chambers of commerce directors and CEOs waiting whilst we were trying to fix. So yeah, there is that pressure, but I think also the beauty and the success of different Jamaats is also the teamwork. That sometimes the only way you can pull through is by learning to work with each other and learning how to maintain the harmony and the peace within the team. Because as we know, when you travel with people, you will have friction, disagreements. Okay, you said we're going to do this, now you're doing that. What's happening? So I think that's actually, as I said, the first people to benefit is our own selves, because we see how we're reacting in those situations. We see where we could have improved, where we could have been better. And I'm struggling to think of things, because I believe, because we had very daily reviews and mashwaras, we would just be very open and say, okay, this needs to improve tomorrow, this needs to not improve. But the one thing I do remember, I will remember for the rest of my life, is not getting my luggage when we traveled to Philippines. So we had just my backpack for like 6 or 7 days. So that's tough, like going to a Jamaat, going somewhere, and then all your clothes, your material, your backup projector, everything has been stuck in an airport somewhere else, and you really need to now start from scratch. But also you learn things like how to pack very light. Inshallah, we'll be making a guide on how to help travelers be very
Mashallah.
efficient with the limited luggage allowance, and also improving, like, do we really need a 10-kilo projector? Are there better technologies available, portable, 4K, with the chargeable, so we don't need a plug. And South Africa has a plug that it's unique to South Africa. No other
Okay.
country in the world has that plug.
Well,
So
has it
these are
got
these
6 pins or something?
say it's like a very strange, like round, 3-pin that no other country on earth has. And we came with all the adapters except the South African one. So then we had to quickly adapt and change. So
Mashallah.
I say I bought the world's most expensive South African adapter, because the first shop I walked in was one of our Pakistani brothers, and he gave me the full Alhamdulillah, mashallah, welcome to South Africa, I will look after you. I said, brother, how much for this plug? He charged me 3 times the normal price of what it should have been. But he sold it to me as if he was doing me the world's greatest favor. So
Mashallah,
there you go.
mashallah.
We are
That shows
consistent.
you why people need these teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when they are trading, when they are doing business, they are following true prophetic principles in accordance with Quran and Sunnah, and not doing over their brother in Islam, or anybody. It doesn't even have to be your brother in Islam. Any human being, Allah's creation, you have to deal with them in the best fairness and in the best manner whatsoever. Look, as you know, when you travel on the path to for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah's help comes in miraculous ways as well. There's no doubt about that. But all that's left for me to say is thank you very much. Jazakallah for each and every one of you for A, joining us on this panel, and B, inspiring us with your stories, inspiring us and motivating us to join this mission and step out and do more. We can do more without a shadow of doubt. No matter where you are in this journey, we are all capable of a lot more. And the more we do, the more then Allah's help comes and gives us that strength to be able to do these tasks. And any final words from yourself, Ustad Majid, as being the
Yeah,
lead
I
on
mean,
this topic?
I'll just
This
extend.
tour?
I'll just extend exactly what you just said, Zafar. I mean, look, we were a team of, I think, 6 of us that went out there.
Yeah,
And I said to you that 10 years ago, Sheikh Ahmed the Bag went out,
yeah.
and they were doing what it's taking six or teams and departments. They were doing it single handedly, and so we really, when the people say you have a guide, you have someone that's inspirational and so forth. This is nothing. Like, we have the model and the inspiration. And honestly, sometimes we'd come back, like we'd have 3 events sometimes in one day, generally like 3 events, and we'd come back tired, and then we'd have Sheikh Ahmed the Bag arranging a call to speak to hers and motivate hers, and it just humbles you to think how on earth not only were they and they are still doing this, like, as one individual. And that is just, if anything will humble you, is that, they have a family, they have children, they have a body that has rights, everything. And you just think, so we literally have, like, I wasn't, when I say we're taking the trodden path, we literally are. We've got someone that's inspiring us, someone that was with us throughout. So really, this is really, they are our inspiration. We thank them. The Prophet ﷺ, Allah Jalaluhu, that has enabled us to be here right now, and for all of us to be friends. We wouldn't all know each other if it wasn't for them either.
Absolutely, absolutely. A final word from myself is that, again, for those of you who are unable to travel and would like to assist in these missions, the organization that which facilitates these is the financial arm of this organization, House of Wisdom. And just at the bottom there, we'll be displaying some details, especially a QR code which you can scan and help towards this financial this mission financially by contributing a little bit every month. A small standing order could be anything from £10 a month, £20, £50, whatever is affordable to yourself, in order to then for this to become your sadqa jariyah. And you never know, somewhere in a different part of the world somebody can benefit from a seminar or a workshop which has been facilitated from your contribution, and whatever goodness that that person does going forwards will be your sort of investment in the hereafter. So again, this is our appeal to brothers and sisters watching, that these missions will not be possible if people did not contribute generously as they have been doing so. And we have a mission to carpet the world in 10 years' time. We're about a year into the mission, Ustad Majid, or a year and a half?
Yeah, 18 months into the mission.
18 months, and inshallah. And we were talking the other day, from the beginning of this mission, since Sheikh Ahmad Dabbagh started this project 25 years ago, when they were a one-man show, we have covered over 50 countries already. And inshallah, we just have, so that's like a quarter of the world that we've already covered. And over the next 8.5 years or so, which is the time frame that they have given us, we will carpet the whole world. Jazakallah to my distinguished guest on this panel. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and hearing your stories. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all and allow you to continue in this mission forever until your last breath. And inshallah, we look forward to speaking to you again. And may Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was amazing, speaking to these very special people who have taken time out of their own busy schedules and sacrificing time, money and energy to do the work of deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow myself and allow yourself to embark on these special missions to achieve His closeness and pleasure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.